Everybody reminisces about things from their childhood, be it music, movies, school, even toys. Remember Tamagotchis? Those things were great. I let so many of them die. Welcome back to Potentially Perfect, home of the world's most scatological gamers. My name's Delapo, and today we're doing a top 10 list. Yeah, I know, but it's part of the YouTuber handbook. I have to do it, because everybody else does it. So let's just get right into it. Now, listen up. These games are going to be from my childhood, and I was born in the 90s, so don't go expecting any games that came out, really, in the 90s, because in 99, I was 4. So keep that in mind, Grandpa, with your Terminator 2, your Ghostbusters, your Sony Walkman. So yeah, without any further ado, here's my top 10 games from my childhood. And if you enjoyed the content, make sure to hit that like button, and feel free to subscribe. It really lets us know that you enjoy it. So, I don't know. Number 10, Super Mario Sunshine. This is probably one of the most divisive games in the Super Mario catalog. Some people fault it for having way too similar looking beach locations, and some people even flat out hate FLUDD. But for me, I actually really like the locale. I like the different locations and the different challenges that they each presented. And most of all, I really enjoyed Beach Bum Mario. That is a sexy outfit. I need to bring that back. I mean, as a child, I remember being challenged by things like the blue coins and even the levels where they took FLUDD away. So, you know, I think it really had something for everyone. All in all, Super Mario Sunshine was a delight, and it's going to be in my mind for, I don't know, forever? Number 9, SSX On Tour. EA Sports Big was an amazing thing while it lasted, wasn't it? They gave us a ton of amazing games, most of them with the word street in them, but that doesn't matter. None of those games really gave us the over-the-top action sports thing, kind of like SSX. Now this one was a bit tough, as I like all of the SSX games. I mean, SSX Tricky and SSX 3 both had amazing slopes, tricks, and great soundtracks. But the thing that really put SSX On Tour above those was the advent of skiing within those games, as well as your own custom character. So yeah, it had everything that the other two games had, but with some added features that made it really feel like a new SSX game. Number 8, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. You know, it's funny, Sonic Adventure DX actually almost made it on this list. Then I remember the Big the Cat levels, and I had to burn that whole script. But that's okay, because we have Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle was actually a turning point for me as far as Sonic the Hedgehog goes. It totally changed my viewpoint, and it made me believe that someone could tell a coherent and somewhat deep-ish story about love, finding one's purpose, and true friendship, all while having a blue hedgehog as the star. Yeah. And that's not something that should be lost on anyone. These games were really, really fun for me as a kid. And yeah, some things don't really hold up anymore, like the Tails and Eggman's levels. Those were not the best. But that's okay, because this game had one thing. Chow Garden. I mean, look at them, they're so cute! You can pick them, and then they race, and then they do karate, which is kind of like dogfighting, so ethically looking back, this is kind of really messed up, but, they're cute, so, right? It's okay. It's okay. It's really not. That's not okay. Number 7, Pokemon Emerald version. Pokemon, am I right? Pokemon? Yeah. That's how you legitimize a top 10 list. Throw Pokemon on it. There's a reason why this franchise has captured minds and hearts, both old and young, and this game is no exception. I remember when I was a kid, I actually had picked up Ruby version first, and then I got Emerald later, and I genuinely believe that this is the best way to play the 3rd generation, if you don't own a 3DS. Oftentimes, during Pokemon games, we were plagued with not having any end-game stuff to do, so the addition of the Battle Frontier was actually a nice little feature. When I was a kid, I used to pretend that Team Aqua and Team Magma were like the Bloods and the Crips, but like with really weird motives. I don't know. Imagination is a hell of a drug. Number 6, Tony Hawk's Underground. Tony Hawk! Remember him? Remember how cool he was? Yeah, it's a little fuzzy here too. Now, I know there's going to be that segment of you guys that are like, back in my day, we didn't take our feet off our skateboards. They were planted there, and that's how we played our games. But there really is something freeing about getting off your skateboard, climbing up houses, and grinding on telephone wire, no matter how impossible that is. But that's what video games are for. And let's get started on that narrative. It was awful! But that's okay, because frankly, it was new and exciting to see a story mode in a skateboarding game. I mean, not every day does the idea of putting a candy bar in a pool to make them drain it pop into someone's mind. What? What's Caddyshack? Number 5, SpiderMan 2. Now I'm gonna go ahead and say right off the bat that this game actually doesn't hold up. But it's on the list because I had such a great time with this game. I put way more time into it than I probably should have. I mean, hell, I didn't even know who Mysterio was before this game. Also, I will fight until the day I die. Tobey Maguire was the best Peter Parker there's ever been. I mean, look at this guy. You telling me that if someone told you that was Spider-Man, you wouldn't punch him in the throat? Come on! Spider-Man 2 introduced us to a New York that we'd never seen before. With the seamless web-slinging, wall crawling, and wall running, I mean, we were able to go from the ground to the top of a skyscraper like that! Not to mention, did enough to differentiate itself from the movie by adding different villains and side quests that it became its own little adventure, and I really liked that about it. Who says movie tie-in games have to be bad, huh? Number 4, Need for Speed Underground 2. Need for Speed Underground 2 was the perfect follow-up to the first title. The always nighttime city where you had to drive to your next quest made for a really fresh experience. But the biggest appeal for me, outside of the amazing soundtrack and seemingly endless customization you could do to your cars, was the lack of police. And now I understand that police had been a staple of Need for Speed for a long time, but I for one was very excited to see that they were getting rid of it, at least for those 2 titles. There was something really satisfying about getting into a race and just letting your skill take the reins, not having to worry that the police were going to come and crash into you to help ruin all of that. I guess you could say there really is a Need for Speed for everyone, and this one is for me.
That's cheesy!
Number 3, Super Smash Bros. Melee. Now, this one kinda sorta had to be on my list. Frankly, it was between this one and Mario Kart Double Dash, but I chose this one because of its overall impact on my life. When you can look back at a game and say that you probably spent hundreds of hours just playing with your friends, that really means something. Now, that's not saying this game is not without flaws. Frankly, I'm in the party that says that Super Smash Bros. 4 is better. Alright, yes, God, guys! Who brought a studio audience here? Who does that? I mean, yes, the game has like 4 playable characters. Anyways, it's a great experience. I can totally see why people like it. It's just not my favorite one of the Smash series, but it's definitely up there. Number 2, Super Mario World Super Advance 2. It's the whole title. Isn't that crazy? The first gaming device I ever picked up was the Game Boy Advance, and I freaking love that thing. So it makes sense that the first game I ever picked up for it would be Super Mario World Super Advance 2. And sweet shawarma, this was a great game. From the varied dessert locations to the varied level design, I mean, every world felt unique, and that was really great. You had new power-ups like the cape. The cape! Just skipping right over the level. Just don't even play the whole level, just fly over it. That's what the cape did. This game truly is a masterpiece, and I would recommend it to anyone who enjoys the king of platformers. Oh, and I guess I should mention that the game came with the original Mario Brothers. Yay! Oh, I'm supposed to do honorable mentions? Oh, okay. Halo was a thing. Halo was fun. Yay, Halo. And finally, number 1. Long, long ago, in a time before MySpace, there was a game called The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. And then the Game Boy Advance came out, and they re-released it. I cannot talk enough about how much I love this game. This was the first Legend of Zelda game I actually beat, and it was well worth the time I put into it. That game honestly opened my eyes to a whole type of gaming I had previously ignored. Believe it or not, that's actually the reason why I started playing games like Final Fantasy 1 and 2 and Boktai and any other text-heavy game. A Link to the Past was honestly my gold standard for video game quality for the longest time, and if you've played the game, you understand why. The Legend of Zelda is now one of my favorite franchises of all time, and it all is due to me playing A Link to the Past. From the very beginning to the very end, you can feel all the love and effort that went into it, and that's why I held that game and all other games that were compared to it at the time to such high standards. I mean, what a story. What a game. And that's my list. Did you get reminded of a game that you'd previously forgotten about? Or did you think I missed a game even though I told you in the beginning it was completely subjective? Dink? Go ahead and tell me in the comments what you think, and remind me of some games from your childhood. I don't care what decade it's from, I love games from all decades. Except for Asteroids. I never really got into that. I don't... It's like, what's the point? How'd I get there? What's the backstory? What am I doing just floating around in space? Come on! Give me a backstory! And if you like the video, please go ahead and hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe. I'm definitely going to be doing more editorial stuff like this, because why not? You're not going to stop me. I can take you. And I just want to remind you that there is a giveaway going on. Follow the link in the description below, and you could be entered for a chance to win PSN or Xbox Live for a year. I mean, who could pass that up? But I'm not here to make that argument. Stay perfect. Bye.